In this video, I want to give you the real talk about how to invest in Colombia. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam and I'm an expat in Colombia. Our mission here is to help expats or soon-to-be expats to start their journey, avoid gringo prices and settle down hassle-free. So if you're thinking about investing here in Colombia, you might have read some articles or saw some videos or even have attended a conference, but I think it's quite difficult to get a real and honest opinion about how to invest in Colombia, because you have to know that here in Colombia there's a totally different culture of investing and doing business, and you have to consider that as well. Here in To Expat, we don't believe in throwing random numbers at you like GDP or growth rate, because here in Latin America numbers don't mean anything, even though we people from the developed world would like it that way. Here in Latin America it all comes down to personal relationship, and especially the most important thing, boots on the ground. So you have to come here and see it for yourself. So let's start with how to invest in Colombia. And I think two sectors can be really lucrative for foreign investors. This would be, first of all, real estate, and secondly would be tourism. Tourism is growing in a rapid pace here in Colombia. As I said, I don't want to throw some numbers at you like growth of tourism. The only real thing you have to know, there are really a lot more tourists coming every year, and I think the ceiling is not even half reached. So if you want to invest in a business like in a bar or in a restaurant catering tourists, or in a touristy spot, or a tourist company that does tours or anything like that, you have to come here, see it for yourself, and I think that could be a very, very good investment. So where to invest here in Colombia if you want to invest in a tourism business? Places could be, of course, the classic examples would be Bogota and Medellin. But I have to tell you, maybe you're a little bit too late, like 3 or 4 or 5 years too late. Of course, if you have a very good idea and if you are a very good business person, it can be a very good idea to invest in a company here as well, or in a bar or restaurant or whatever. But maybe you want to invest in a more up-and-coming area, not like here in Medellin or in Bogota. There are already a lot of foreigners. So the up-and-coming places here in Colombia are Cali near the Pacific coast, then the whole Santa Marta region, which is on the coast near to Cartagena. Cartagena also is very overrun with tourists, but there are a lot of foreign investors already there. So yeah, it's the same thing with like Medellin and Bogota. Maybe you should go on a more prosperous place like Cali or Santa Marta, or the whole Caribbean coast of Colombia as well. It could be a very good place to invest in hostels or anything like that. So, and before we go to how to invest in real estate, just quickly, I want to tell you why I don't think anything else should be invested in, unless, of course, you know something that I don't know. But like in Panama, you have the tax-free zone, which you can invest in a company like Import and Export, and you don't have this really in Colombia. And doing business in Colombia for a foreigner, like doing usual business, like selling coffee or importing something or handing a service to the local people here, is very, very difficult. Doing business here in Colombia is really, really difficult for a foreigner. You have to get 1 year or 2 year experience at least in running a business here, because there are so many regulations and stuff you have to consider. So it's better to invest in what we developed world people really know. It's catering to other expats or tourists. And of course the other thing is investing in real estate. So in this video I will just talk about investing in real estate. There's always two kinds of real estate things you can do. Either is invest, and the other thing is having or buying your own real estate. A lot of people don't know that or think differently, but I think these are two different kinds of topics: investing in real estate and buying your own property where you live. So in this video I just want to talk about investing in real estate. So the real estate market here in Colombia is huge, because the population is growing and steadily growing, because this is a developing country, but what you really have to consider, you have to be honest with yourself about your calculation. So I myself thought about going here into the real estate business and doing some Airbnb rentals and all that kind of stuff. And here in this video I want to explain why I did not do it. I know there are a lot of articles and information out there where people or companies say it's a very good thing to invest in Colombia. Come here, everybody comes here to Colombia and invest in real estate. But if you're honest to yourself, and if you really see what these companies are doing, of course, they're companies that sell real estate. So they will, of course, tell you that you have to, or that you should come here and buy real estate. It's a deal of a lifetime. But you have to be very, very careful, again, of how you really want to invest here in real estate. Then one thing is, there are always two things when you that you have to consider when investing in real estate. One is that the price of the apartment or house will go up, and the other thing is to get passive income through rent. And if you plan to rent here to the locals, I can tell you that's probably not the best idea, because rents here are so low. Sometimes the rent is almost as high as the HOA, so the Home Ownership Association prices or fees you would have to pay anyways. So for a lot of people here, it doesn't really make sense to buy a house, because the fixed costs of buying a house are almost the same as if you would rent the same apartment. And another thing is that you don't want to rent long term, is that your competition are locals, so many of them don't pay tax, many of them don't comply with the law, and you as a foreigner you could do that as well, but probably for you it's harder to do that, to not comply with the law and to not pay taxes, because you're a foreigner and the locals here know how to do it. And another thing is that you maybe not want to do that, so you're not really competing on a level playing field. So the better thing would be to do short-term rentals, which is more of a business and less of an investment. But yeah, there is money to be made here in Colombia, but again, you have to be very careful with your calculation and be very honest with you. So there are many things you have to consider if you plan to do an Airbnb investment, especially here in Colombia, not just in Latin America, because Colombia has special regulations. The Airbnb here in Colombia is not really legal. So it is legal if you rent a place less than 30 days, you have to comply with the tourist law here. And this, you have to do some things, and you have to spend money for that, which will be taken away from your earnings. And another thing, of course, here, that you have to pay tax, which your competitors who are also local, also in the short-term markets, don't really do. So this could really be the death penalty for your plan to invest here in Colombia in an Airbnb or short-term rental. And another thing is, if you still think you can do a sufficient amount of money here with your investment, then there is also the laws of the edificios. So the edificios are the high-rises here in Colombia, which especially Medellin, Cartagena, some in Santa Marta and Bogota are really good investments because they're in great locations. But these edificios, the high-rises, have special laws or special rules, I have to say, which don't allow short-term rentals, because other Colombians that live in these high-rises don't like people coming in and out because of security reasons. So this edificio has a rule that you can't do short-term rentals either. So first of all, you have the laws that are in your way, and the second thing is that in the rules of the edificio that are in your way of getting here a legal Airbnb. So this is also a little negative point. And one other thing, this is just the passive income I talked now. The other thing is the appreciation of the value of the house. And with this, you have to be careful also. This is a very good thing. So people, no, I don't want to draw numbers around, but people here say maybe 8 to 10% appreciation a year. Of course, if you paid gringo prices when you bought the place, this will not be the case for you. But the appreciation here in the houses can be very good. But as I said, prices here or numbers here are not really worth it. So you have to come here by yourself, spend some time, and then make a good investment decision. And even with the appreciation of the value of the house or apartment you will get, you have to consider the currency. So there's a good video of Sam Afar where he talks with Rich Holman, which is one of the founders of the whole FAR investment thing. I will talk about them later. but he's a very successful business person here in real estate, and even he says on one of Sam Afar's videos of Sam are very good, so you can check him out as well. He talks a lot about real estate and living here in Colombia, but that's just a side note. In one of his videos, he talks with the guy, Rich Holman, which is one of the founders, about how real estate prices evolved. And he said, yeah, of course, he bought a house and his real estate doubled in the Colombian pesos price. But because the dollar was so strong at that time, it really didn't make a difference in the dollar value of his house. So you have to consider that the currency between the Colombian pesos and the US dollars can fluctuate as well and really eat your margin there. And this was because from around 2008 to 2013-14, the Colombian pesos really lost against the US dollars, and now since 2 years it's quite steady, so yeah, maybe that's not an issue anymore. But be sure to consider that as well. So now I have said a lot of negative things about how to invest in Colombia. So how can you make it possible here as well? Either you really spend a lot of time here, you do honest and good calculations on what you want to do. I did it myself and I said, no, that's not for me. I don't think here where I am, here in Medellin, the market is not for me. So yeah, I didn't do an Airbnb rental real estate investment stuff. And I don't mean that you shouldn't invest here in Colombia. I just wanted to give you a little perspective from my side. But you can make it here as well, especially if you're in the up-and-coming areas like on the coast, Santa Marta, and these places that will be up-and-coming in the next years. What you can do, and that's one thing I probably will do as well, you can work with FAR International. So FAR International is a company which do crowdfunding for their apartments, and you can check their website out and check out what they do. They do a whole investment package. I don't want to talk about them too much here in this video, but they're very good and you can talk with these guys. These guys know what they're doing and they're doing legally, so you have a secure investment with, they say, about 8 to 10% of return on investment. So a long video with a lot of information. I hope it helped. If you want some more concrete information about your special case, we offer Skype calls. You can contact us there and we can talk how we think for your special case it could be done to invest here in real estate or invest anything else or any other expat questions you might have. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video and want to see more videos like this, don't forget to like and subscribe.